Welcome back to the Qlik MCP Cordon Green Culinary School of Agentic Awesomeness. This is Chef Claude, and I hope that all you sous chefs are well rested and caffeinated up. Now, can you imagine owning a restaurant and being told that anyone is allowed to walk into the kitchen and start creating meals? Ay, ay, ay. That just scares me to death. They might even, this is crazy, they might even want to use a microwave to prepare the crème brûlée. You know that's not how we roll here. Our dishes are all prepared with love. Course 100 was designed for those of you who are developers. In fact, I told non-developers to stay the heck out of my kitchen. Chef Claude helped those people understand how an individual contributor, they could provide Chef Claude with the set of skills to ensure that he followed their gold standard when interacting with the Qlik MCP server. That was great for those developers, but the world doesn't revolve around them. The world doesn't revolve around you who are listening to this either. We've all heard the expression, there are too many cooks in the kitchen, and your organization has a gold standard of its own. Now, how can your big cheese director of analytics ensure that when access is decentralized to Qlik MCP to thousands of employees to ask questions, that they all follow that standard? The last thing they want is every one of those users trying to decide and define their own skills that I used as the secret sauce. Well, sous chefs, solving that problem is what this course is all about. So take your seats because Chef Claude is ready to begin. Back in course 100, I demonstrated how you could create skills. That was the individual contributor's secret sauce. I could come into these capabilities and add skills like, what do I want to do in a load script, so that I made sure that all of these things were followed so that my standard was put into place. Well, again, we don't want hundreds or thousands of people having to go copy my skills off of my Qlik community post where I made those available for your developers. That was to help get them started and learn what they can do. What we want to focus on now, and I want to make sure you're aware of, is that there are organizational skills. These organizational skills are kind of that superset, that gold standard for the organization. Here's what I always want to have happen for all my users. I want, when my users ask questions, I want it to ignore any cache. Because if we don't specifically say to ignore cache, Qlik MCP is going to default to saying, hey, you asked me that question 5 minutes ago. It's not like your application could be doing incremental loads and dealing with, fast moving data or big data. So we might want to have a rule organizationally that for all users, Qlik MCP would ignore the cache if that was the case. Or we might want to define the rule, hey, we know in our organization we don't do very many incremental loads. So if the cache is within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then absolutely we want to use the cache to try to save tokens. And you can get the idea of those types of rules. We might want to have a rule in place that if the application has a large data model, every single time a question is asked, we want it to show its work. Tell me what fields or assumptions were made when I said, give me total sales. What field did you pull that from? Sales column A, sales column B, or sales column C? Because we have applications with multiple things like that. So if you are an organizational administrator, or you are one of those big cheeses, and I know you don't take offense when I say that, you're somebody who cares about this organizationally, Claude and Qlik MCP are ready for you to be able to handle that. We're more than happy for you to do that. Those organizational rules can actually cross skills as well. Maybe when I'm interacting with Qlik and Snowflake, there are certain things we want to do, like, hey, always when you're dealing with Snowflake, use uppercase field names in your data model. Don't try to transform any of those things, even though maybe with some other databases, we want those transformed into human readable format because those SQL systems don't have a problem if we ask for it in a different case or something like that. So lots of different things you can do there. There are answers. So take heed here. Don't worry. If you have a gold standard organizationally, you're going to be able to implement that through Claude to make sure that every one of those users who are accessing the Qlik MCP are going to be given that standard that you want them to.